Hey, welcome to Thought Thursday with Pastor Josh. A thought is the product of mental activity, that which one thinks. It is a single act or product of thinking, idea, or notion. We're going to talk about what that looks like today on this edition of Thought Thursday. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me today on this edition of Thought Thursday. You know, this whole week we've been talking about some pretty introspective stuff. You know, we talked about purpose and eternity and hell and heaven, and we talked about wise living yesterday and what that looks like. And so today I want to talk to you about making a difference on accident. Have you ever had somebody in your life that maybe you didn't at the time think that you were making an impact on, but then later on they're like, oh, by the way, you really have made an impact on my life? Well, it's usually the people we don't expect, right? Like in our minds, we think it's one person. Oh, like, man, I'm really making a difference in their life, or I'm really hoping to make a difference in their life. And so you kind of put your energies and your thoughts that way. But then you don't always recognize the people around you that are also being impacted by your life. And many times we just don't see it. And I had one of those instances happen, I don't know, a few years ago. It began when we were in Havre, when we first got to Havre in January of 2010. And sometime along that year, it was kind of a progression. I don't remember exact timing, but we had a young man in our youth ministry who was a junior high kid. He was the oldest of three. His mom was a single mom. The dad wasn't really in the picture. And this young man would hang out with us all the time. I mean, like Sunday afternoons, he'd run errands with us. I mean, he was always there early at every event. Literally, it felt like he was living with us there for a long time. And so I spent a lot of time with this young man. And after a while, you wonder if you're making a difference or not in someone's life. I wasn't necessarily, to be honest, I wasn't even necessarily thinking intentionally that I was going to make a difference in his life. I was just trying to be nice and caring and Christ-like to him. Well, eventually they moved away, and they moved to Vegas, and this young man would call me every couple weeks, and just to hear my voice, literally, that's what it was. It was kind of awkward if you've ever been in a conversation like that, because usually when you're on a phone call, you're expecting someone to say something or have you question, or there's conversation going back and forth. Well, many times he would call and just kind of sit on the phone and just wanted to hang out. Just wanted to kind of feel like he was being with me. And he did that for a long time. And then eventually those calls stopped coming. And I kind of wondered what had kind of happened to him. And then when we first moved to Chinook in 2016, I got a call from him about 3 months later. And he said, hey, do you remember me? I'm like, yeah, I remember you. And he's saying, well, I just graduated from a Christian school here in Vegas, and, I'm going to be going into the military. He's going in the military. He felt like the military's missions field, and he wants to be able to share Christ to them. He shared about how in his final essay as a senior, the essay was to write about someone who had impacted your life in a great way. And even to write about a father figure in your life. Well, you guessed it, he ended up writing about me. And as he wrote about me, and he actually read a lot of it to me on the phone, he just said, I feel like I need to share this all with you. To be honest, I was blown away. Not because of him just writing that stuff. I was blown away because I didn't see it coming. I didn't recognize that I'd made a difference in this young man's life. I never even guessed I did. In fact, I kind of wondered if I hadn't made a difference. But this kid said, yeah, I mean, you've been a father figure in my life. You're really a huge reason why I'm serving Christ today. Really, I gave my life to Christ because of you. And I'm telling you what, and even right now, maybe I'm getting a little emotional, but I tell you what, I told Christy after that phone call, I said, this is enough. Like, if my entire life was boiling down to this one moment, it would have been worth it because of what happened with this young man. And it's a powerful moment. It's a powerful thing to think about it. But I have to be honest with you. I think I made a difference in his life on accident. On my accident. Now, I say that because we know that nothing takes God by surprise, right? None of this is an accident to him. He orchestrates all of this, and and he put us in those right places. And then he also, praise God, he works in spite of us many times when we do something stupid or we're not being intentional or we're whatever. He has a great way of using all these things to shape and mold us and the people around us. And so I was so blown away by that. And I'm sharing that with you to give you an example of what I mean when I say making a difference on accident. I think we make a difference in people's lives more than we think. We're making an impression. Everybody's watching us. The people around you are watching you. And we can get into the trap where we think, oh, well, that person's being influenced by me. And so then you can kind of tailor your influence, right? But I think it's even more important for us to recognize the people that we don't think we're influencing. Because many times, those are the ones we're influencing the most. Is the ones who are sitting on the sidelines watching how we're responding to everything around us. And so I share that with you to help you understand, help us to understand that, because sometimes it can be discouraging to think that we're not making a difference. But I would say to you, I believe we're making a difference. The only question is what kind of difference are we making? What kind of lives are we living? So that if somebody is watching us, and if we are making a difference on accident, that it would be the difference that we want to make. It would be the difference that Christ wants us to make in someone else's life. And so just remember, you're making a difference on accident. And so we need to be careful, and we need to be really intentional to examine our lives and make sure that what we're exhibiting is going to be beneficial to people, because we want to see people's lives changed. Because I'll tell you what, I've also have stories I could share with you, lots of stories of ones who've been influenced and made a difference in their life in not a good way. And I tell you, if I have to choose between the two, we obviously want to choose the one that makes a difference for the sake of Christ. So I just want to encourage you with that today. You're making a difference, even on accident. And so make sure that our impact and our difference that we're making is the difference that we want to see. It's the difference that Christ wants us to bring to the situation. Thanks. This has been Thought Thursday with Pastor Josh. Thanks for joining me today. See you tomorrow.